Next is a Nigerian Content Intervention Fund workshop for community contractors in Delta State. Keep watching.
The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board recently organized a one-day sensitization workshop on community content guideline for host community contractors in Delta State. Stating the purpose of the event, the representative of the Executive Secretary NCDMB, Engineer Simbi Kasiewabote, and the person of the General Manager, Corporate Communications and Zonal Coordination, Engineer Dr. Gina Otonyo Gina, gave a brief overview of the guideline.
We have the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act that was signed into law by the past president. So, in the Act, there are several provisions for host community participation. But because the Act has several provisions, about 100 provisions, and the sections for host communities is about 10% of that. So we had a situation where those provisions are easily glossed over, skipped in the discussion of Nigerian content. So to make it very fast and effective, to implement the provisions that guarantee host community participation. So we have created a community content guideline policy out of the provisions in the main law itself. So the primary aim of our coming here is for you to understand the document so that you can also reference it when you are communicating with the oil and gas industries in your domain.
The General Manager, Corporate Communications and Zonal Coordination shed more light on the Nigerian Oil and Gas Content Development Act as it relates to host communities in oil-producing states.
NOGIC Act itself, the parent law, has 6 key thrusts. And we are saying for host communities, the very first one, integrate oil and gas producing communities into the oil and gas value chain. That is, we want to involve them in labor, in contracts, in supplies, in manufacturing, in logistics, and etc. And further down, we can see that this provision was drawn from sections 25, 26, 27, and 28 of the NOGIC Act itself, the parent law, which also declares that for the operator to maintain a level of presence in communities where projects are located. So these provisions guarantee that the host communities must be present in significant numbers in the operations that are happening in their domain.
The Supervisor, Nigerian Content Development Fund and Treasury Unit of the Board, Erefaga Turner, made a presentation on the event.
The NCI Fund is actually a fund set up by Section 104, subsection 1. This fund is set up from 1% of every contract awarded in the upstream of the oil and gas sector. Now, this fund, as stated under Section 104, shall be managed by the NCDMB and employed for programs and activities directed at increasing the Nigerian content in the oil and gas industry. Now, one of the things, among other things, the board has done with the fund is to put $300 million with the Bank of Industry. There are 5 key products that we expect our people to benefit from in this project. One of them is the manufacturing, asset acquisition, contract finance, loan refinancing, and community contractor financing, which is actually the reason why we are here.
Erefaga Turner highlighted the features of the Community Contractor Financing Scheme.
This fund is provided by NCDMB for on-lending to stakeholders in the Nigerian oil and gas communities, and we expect that host communities should benefit. The fund is designed to provide loan finance for indigenous contractors with valid contracts. So we expect that you have at least a valid contract from IOC or NOC. Other features of the fund includes that it has a single-digit interest rate of 5% per annum all in, and it has tenure of up to 5 years, with moratorium between 6 and 12 months. Although with the effect of COVID, we gave some palliatives. Now, maximum amount of the loan you can access as a community contractor is 20 million naira.
Arifaga Turner further enumerated the criteria and requirements of the Community Contractor Financing Scheme.
For you to participate, you must be an indigene of the oil and gas industry or in the host community to the oil and gas industry. You must have a registered or incorporated company, and you must fulfill all requirements listed in the portal. Now that portal is www.boi.ng/NCI fund. Submit all your required documents, respond to all mails from the Bank of Industry, track the status of the application over time, and provide the required security or collateral cover for the requested loan when requested by BOI.
The workshop was highly interactive as participants asked salient questions that were duly answered by officials of the NCDMB.